Have you ever carried a tiredness so deep it feels lodged in your bones? A weight that sleep does not lift. A heaviness that medicine and routine cannot touch. If so, you may be standing at the threshold of a profound inner transformation. This fatigue is not a sign of failure. It is the physical echo of an inner reconfiguration, the slow, demanding work of a psyche that is rearranging itself into a clearer, truer form. This kind of exhaustion is not measured on lab sheets. You can eat well, move your body, and yet still feel drained. That's because the depletion isn't happening at the level of calories or cells. It is a psychic exhaustion, the wearing down of the old patterns that once carried you. Think of it as the cost of demolition. The house that sheltered you is being taken apart so a different, more honest structure can be built in its place. The noise, dust, and tiredness are part of the process. Carl Jung called this field of inner labor the journey of individuation, the long, often painful work of becoming who we truly are. Often this work begins without invitation. It is instigated by the unconscious, which starts to remove what no longer belongs: roles, inherited beliefs, reactive habits. The mind must dismantle its familiar scaffolding to make space for a new architecture of being. When that scaffolding falls, there is a collapse. And where there's collapse, there is a heavy, necessary fatigue. You may notice your body carrying the strain first. Muscles that held tension for years can finally unclench, and in doing so they demand rest. Your breath may lengthen not because nothing is wrong, but because something has ended. This is the somatic signature of inner change. The body catches up to what the psyche has already decided. When your posture relaxes and your sleep deepens, it is not a small thing. It is a signal that internal reorganization is occurring. Another common source of this deep weariness is ancestral or relational debt. Many of us unknowingly inherit emotional patterns, loyalties, sacrifices, and survival strategies that were never ours to carry. Our nervous systems memorize family stories: who must sacrifice, who must hold the peace, who must fix. These unconscious contracts bind energy. Empathy becomes indistinguishable from ownership. Feeling with another turns into feeling responsible for another. The result is an energetic bleed, a living with no clear shoreline. You exhaust yourself because your boundaries are blurred. This is where the shadow work arrives. The parts of you were taught to hide. Anger, grief, desire, selfishness now come forward begging recognition. They are the orphaned sections of self that demand a home. Meeting them is exhausting because you must feel what you have long denied. The process is not a tidy therapy session. It is a descent into inner wilderness where everything you have built to be acceptable dissolves. In that darkness, your habitual identity dies. It is painful, disorienting, lonely, and it is necessary. Alchemy offers a metaphor for what you're undergoing. The first stage in the alchemist's opus was blackening, a necessary breakdown, a composting of the old. What decays becomes the soil for new emergence. This is not clinical depression if it aligns with symbolic death and rebirth. It is an archetypal darkening that precedes transformation. You pass through the underworld and, in so doing, uncover parts of yourself that had been buried. The exhaustion you feel is the price of digging up those treasures. There is a paradox. Here, often the deepest fatigue arrives after the fiercest inner struggle has already resolved. Once the internal war subsides, the body finally allows itself to let go. That collapse is not defeat. It is the system's way of acknowledging that something profound has been endured. Jung used the term individuation to describe this reformation, a becoming that requires the death of an earlier self. To emerge whole, something must be allowed to end. As you move through this process, perception shifts. You begin to notice frequencies and patterns that were previously invisible. Sensitivity becomes acuity. Where you once skimmed the surface, now you perceive layers and subtexts. This widened vision is both gift and burden. With clearer sight comes the responsibility to choose differently. You can no longer unconsciously collude with dysfunction. You must name it or walk away. That clarity often creates loneliness because your inner horizon has expanded beyond that of those who never underwent the same ordeal. Energy returns, but it returns reorganized. It is no longer scattered and reactive, but thicker and more precise. Where before you might have been able to be everything to everyone, you now recognize that your power is finite and best invested with discernment. This is not selfishness. It is selecting who and what deserves your life force. The new energy moves vertically, deep and sustained, rather than horizontally, thin and wide. It carries a quiet potency that makes small acts enormously effective. You will notice relationships changing. Some will thin out naturally, not by dramatic exits, but by subtle shifts. You stop showing up with the old scripts. People who relied on your overflow will recalibrate or move away. This can feel like loss. It can also feel like liberation. Boundaries form not by force, but by the insistence of your own integrity. When you choose rest, others learn to live with less of you and more of themselves. That is a healthy rebalancing, even if it stings at first. Forgiveness in this season becomes internal rather than external. You no longer wait for apologies or explanations. You choose to release the charge that keeps memories weaponized. Letting go is not amnesty. It is clearing the field so life can plant new seeds. And because you have been tempered by trial, your sense of what matters sharpens. You no longer waste energy on illusions of worth. Inner certainty replaces external validation. What you crave now is solitude that sustains, not isolation that punishes. Solitude becomes a laboratory in which to integrate the newly found self. In that quiet, you consolidate new rhythms. Learn to dwell in your body and practice being present without performance. This sanctuary is not avoidance. It is necessary incubation. From it, you will return to the world with a steadier pulse and a more reliable center. There will be awkwardness as you adapt to this new being. Time will feel different, slower, more elastic. You will no longer hustle to belong to someone else's timeline. Instead, you move according to an inner tempo that recognizes depth over speed. That slowness is a kind of courage in a culture built on acceleration. Not everyone will recognize your transformation. Many will prefer the familiar patterns and may feel threatened by the steadier, quieter force you now carry. That is not a failing on your part. It is simply the natural mismatch between those who have undergone the furnace and those who have not. Your presence will act as a mirror. Some will look away. Do not be surprised. The work you have done is not for show. It is for becoming. In time, exhaustion takes on a new tone. It becomes a companion that reminds you to pace yourself, to choose sacred rest over frenetic doing. It no longer drains you, it guides you. The tiredness of the old life is replaced by the steady reserve of the remade self. Where once you were scattered, you are now concentrated and intentional. If you find yourself in this space, heavy, oddly lucid, quietly withdrawn, know this: you have been through an initiation. The universe did not break you, it refined you. Your scars are not evidence of defeat, but of passage. You walked through fire and emerged with a clearer light. Let that light guide how you move, who you keep, and what you care for. You do not need the world to witness your graduation. The true proof of the work is in how you hold yourself now, calmer, less defensive, more measured. Rest when you must. Protect your boundaries. Tend to the small rituals that keep you anchored. The transformation is ongoing, but the most arduous part has passed. You are not merely surviving. You are becoming.